Hi, Catechist, welcome to our take 2 on a Catechist Orientation. Those of you that were here on Tuesday evening, thank you for your patience, and I apologize that unfortunately where we had the TV, it's like a dead zone over there, so that was the main problem. Anyway, we're going to try this again. So first of all, I'd like to go over how to access the TVs in your faith room. So this is what most of the TVs will look like when you turn them on. There's one or two that they're a little bit bigger screen, but anyway, that's how they'll look. You'll have 2 remotes, and actually you'll have, I'm attaching a paper instructions too, so that you'll have in the room a little handout that will show you what you need to do. So you have 2 remotes. You have the Roku TV remote, and then you'll have the Fire Stick remote. Okay, so first of all, you take the TV remote to turn on the TV, and with that, you're going to move over to the Fire Stick, which it'll be different, might be HDMI 1 on another TV, but in this one, it's HDMI 3. Okay, you hit OK, and then you don't need the TV. You don't need the TV remote. You'll now use the Fire Stick remote. Okay, so that's the first part. Now you're going to take the Fire Stick remote and you're going to want to go to the internet, Amazon Silk. If that little blue box is not in the recent apps, you can use the speech, the Alexa. You can just hit the microphone and say, Alexa, find Amazon Silk. Okay, so we have it here. We're going to hit OK, and it'll load. We do have it bookmarked, so most likely this will come right up. If it doesn't come up to the Christ in Us login, if it comes up, I'm going to just go back home and see if I'll show you how. Okay, if it comes up like this, and when you go to internet, it doesn't, no, it probably won't do it. Okay, so this one is bookmarked. It will be bookmarked in case this screen doesn't come up. You'll go over to up here and menu, and then search for Christ in Us. It should be right in the recent apps. Okay, now to log on. Okay, so you want to enter your name, your username, and let's see, we'll put mine in. Oop. Most of them, it's your last name and your first initial. Whoop. You can use Alexa, but then you would want to just spell it out. And so they get the correct spelling. Okay. And you go to next. Okay, and then you go next. Now you're going to bring it down here and click on login. And this is the same way you'd sign in at home using your credentials. Here we go. Okay, so then you are logged in. So when it's time to start your class, after your prayer service, you'll go to your grade and the lesson. Oops, let me go to the Catechist view. Okay, so start with lesson 1. And here you scroll down and you have the video lesson that you can use at home to prepare, if you like. It's done by a master catechist who's assigned to each grade level. And the children that are doing class remotely are using this too. And if a child is absent, or if we do have to go remote totally for any length of time, this is a great tool because each lesson in the book has this video component. And it covers the three parts of every lesson: encounter, accompany, and witness. And that's pretty much how those go. Okay, so then when it comes to your preparation at home, you can use any of the faith formation stuff that's available. You have the parish guide, which actually is your catechist manual. So if you don't have your book with you, and you just have it on your iPad or your laptop or whatever, you can go to the book online instead of the book hard copy, which you should have after the meeting. And it'll go through each page. Let's see, where's the page turner here? Yep. Okay, so you can go through each page of your book. Now, wherever you see the little icons in the book is where you're going to want to use the material that is on the page we were just at. So I'm going to go back. There we go. Okay. If you're looking at your book and you see these little icons anywhere, you can come here and use that for the class. So let's say you've finished the encounter part. Now you want to do the accompany, which accompanies the material in the book. And you get to the little icon for Did You Know? Okay, so you go over to Did You Know? And click. And the short little video will play. If you don't see the start button, usually just bring your cursor down to the corner. And it should start. There you go. I have no idea what the volume is here.
Well, God shares his love through stories. God inspired people to write the stories of the Bible. Each of these stories contains important lessons about how much God loves us and how to follow God. In the first book of the Bible, the book of Genesis, we read a story about God creating the heavens and the earth. This story, and so many stories in the Bible, explain all the amazing things God does for us. When God sent Jesus to earth, he sent his very son to spread his word. That's why Jesus told so many stories. He told them to show God's love and teach us all a way to lead a life of love and kindness.
Okay, so they're very short. They're just kind of an additional change of pace to just reading something in the book to the children. And of course, this is first grade, so it's very simple. And just with the cursor, be really careful because I know I sometimes hit the home button instead of the enter. Okay, and all of these little icons come up with different activities or things that are not necessarily in the book that you can add to the class. You don't have to use all of them. You don't have to use any of them if you prefer not to. It does enrich the lesson since we can't do a lot of our extra activities that we normally would do that are outside of the book to enrich the lesson. Okay, so that would be the Did You Know? That one I believe is in the book. So let's go back. Okay, so once you've finished your lesson, we always have, we have a saint for each grade level. First grade happens to be St. Francis. So throughout the book, you'll have little snippets about St. Francis. Here, this is one here. When you see a speaker like this, it means it is simply audio. It's not a visual. And here, let's see, Partners in Faith. This would be a short little video about St. Francis. The other grades have different saints, so you'll see when you get your books. Again, 50 seconds, less than a minute. The first grade ones are very short to keep their attention and to break up the class. All right. Now, at the end of the session, if you want to go ahead and do this together, usually if I assign a lesson at home, I'll use the Show What You Know, and the children can complete that online and submit it, and that's how we take attendance for days that are remote. But you can do it as a group. Put these questions up on the board and let the children take turns answering them. The same thing with the lesson test. If you want to use that at the end of the class, you can do that too. If you prefer to bring a laptop and hook it up to the TV, you would need to bring an HDMI cord. I don't think we have enough of them, but you're welcome to. It is a little easier with a keyboard as opposed to the Fire Stick remote. But this is what the lesson test looks like. And again, you can do it together. We don't grade things for religious ed. Mainly our goal here is to share our faith with the children and help them understand the Catholic Church and God. Okay, so you can just go through these. Most classes have 10 or less children, so you could, break them up into groups and let them come up with the answers, or let them do it, raise their hand and offer an answer. But that is that. So this would be how you would use the Christ in Us portal in the class, during the class time. At home, of course, it's going to look the same, but you can access the resources for the unit. As you see, there's 5 different units, and they're broken down into essential questions. What do you believe? And it talks about what we profess, how we profess our faith. And the Christ in Us theme song is here. We are going to tape chapel so that you can watch chapel service in the room. At some point in the year, everyone will have a turn to go into the chapel for the prayer service, but there's too many of us to go in all together. So I know at the beginning of the year, the song for chapel is We Are the Hope. So you will hear that during the prayer service. And we'll have the words on the board, like on a sheet you can put up on the board so the children can follow along. But Christ in Us has a theme song too, and should play. Now, if your TV goes to sleep while you're doing the lesson, you should be able to just click back and it'll come back to what you were doing. And this is it. There we go. Listen for the click, right? Okay. You want to listen. You should have the volume. That controls the volume. This controls play. Again, you can bring this up on the screen and let the children learn it. Bring it at the end of the lesson. It has all the words. So that almost has a little bit of the feel of We Are the Hope too. So it's a song that you can use every class if you want to. If you want to just use it when, at the end for prayer, that would be fine too. All right, so now we want to go back. Some of these screens. There we go. And that's about that. Now, as far as other resources, these are accessible to the children at home too. So each child will have a logon and a parent logon. You have student resources, parent resources, prayers, like all the prayers that they're learning in all the 8 grades. Since we only see the children twice a month, we can't expect to have them, memorize the prayers just in our interaction. So we do want to encourage them to always pray at home. Okay, so all the prayers are in here. They just keep going and going and going. All the ones that we would use throughout the year. And even more so, because some of them are used in the upper grades. All right, so that sums up the use of the TVs and the use of the portal at home. So you can use it in the room and for your planning. Okay, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me. Okay, so we will be using the topic sheet that we distributed at the meeting. Each grade is a different color, but it gives all the dates of the sessions, and for each session, the chapter that we're going to do, and the essential questions. The essential questions are really, in a nutshell, what you want to accomplish in the class. The first lesson in all of the books is how do we know God? Okay, so that's what we want to start out with. How do we know God? And at the end of the lesson, once you've gone through everything, for first grade, the essential question is, how do I help others know God? Okay, so it just goes like that. Second lesson is, who is God? Okay, so that's the question at the beginning of the lesson. And when you end the lesson, you want the children to be able to answer, how do others help me know God? Okay, so that's kind of a very simple way that these lessons are set up, and how you achieve that answer to the second essential question is using the material in the accompany part of the lesson. So we will add in different activities as far as maybe a supplemental video. We're not going to be doing a lot of hands-on arts or crafts things because of the limitations. We have to keep the children apart. The prayer table, now this actually is the prayer table that is in each room. You can set up sacramentals on here, like a theme, a prayer table, sacred space for your class, but we're not going to be able to gather the children around like we have in the past. Another thing as far as what to expect the timeline to be. So when you arrive at the St. Francis Center, hopefully 10 to 15 minutes before your class, maybe a little longer if you can the first day, you'll come to your room, get yourself set up and situated. You'll have a bin with your name on it in the cabinet that's closest to the door. You can leave things in there. You'll have an attendance sheet that you're going to want to leave in there. As the children arrive, you'll have name tents that you can, have them, or you can write their name probably in the younger grades, and have them take a seat and mark their attendance. We will come around to get attendance, since no one will be moving except the one grade that's going into chapel. It's the only class that will be moving out of the room during the course of the session. So we'll come around and get your attendance and take care of that in the office. So then you go through your lesson. At the end of the time that we have together for the day, we will get on the speaker and say, usually it's Mary Kay, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. And you have the children respond, thanks be to God. Okay, just like we do in church. So that's what we're sending them off to love and serve the Lord. At, say, about 5 minutes before the end of class, I would say stop what you're doing, let the children gather their things, and gather in prayer. Not physically, but just as a class, as a small faith group. Gather with a prayer for the end of the class. You can choose a Hail Mary, you can choose an Our Father, you can choose one of the prayers in the book. But try and do that a couple minutes before you hear the announcement to go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Okay, now at that point, you're going to stay in your room with the children, and we will call their last name as the parents pull up in front of the building. At that point, you can let them go to the multi-purpose room, and we will take care of getting them in their cars. So we will not have a big mass exodus from the building as we had in prior years. So you just sit tight. If you have to leave, like say you have to be out of here by 6 o'clock, let one of us know when you arrive, and you can bring your children down to the multi-purpose room and make sure they stay spread out, of course. So, as far as bathroom use, please let them use the bathroom if they need to, but only one at a time. The bathrooms only have, they're very small, 1 or 2 stalls. So one child at a time if they need to use the bathroom. We do not have the water fountains on, so the parents have been told that children can bring like a small water bottle. So any other questions you have, please email me or call me, and I'm sure we'll have a exciting start to the year. And as someone told me once long ago, that chaos is a sign of the Holy Spirit at work. So I'm sure he's going to be very, very busy these next few weeks. And thank you very much. And again, apologize for Tuesday night's meeting. Seems we do have a little bit of an internet issue in the multi-purpose room there, but thank you very much.